My name is Giancarlo Guerrero, and I am the music director of the Grammy Award-winning Nashville Symphony Orchestra. And it is a great honor to be a part of this event here today. Well, it is a great privilege to get to conduct one of the great orchestras, not only in the United States, but around the world. And the fact that we are so focused on championing great living American composers. This is kind of what our brand is all about. Yes, we do play Beethoven and Mozart and all the great warhorses, but we've come to find that it is our duty as an American orchestra in a city that proudly calls itself Music City to champion great American music. Living classical composers are as active today as they've ever been in the last 250, 300 years. And we're very proud to be in a community where American music of every genre, bluegrass, rock and roll, jazz, you name it, is being produced, recorded, played, performed within blocks of the Schermerhorn Symphony Center. So the symphony has to be a part of it. And for me to be the music director and such an important moment in the history of Nashville is a great honor and a privilege. And plus, the great bonus, this is my hometown now, and we couldn't be happier of being a part of this wonderful community. Nashville proudly calls itself Music City, but that means every style of music. Classical music just happens to be a part of it. But this is a community that is so incredibly, they are so incredibly knowledgeable about every style of music that one style will not be enough. I know that people that not only attend our regular performances classical, they also attend our pop performances, or they attend regularly shows at Bridgestone. I myself do that. So this is a town that is so sophisticated in its taste of music that classical music just happens to add to that. And for me, one of the most important aspects of the symphony itself is that we provide something that nobody else is doing. And when you have a 100-member orchestra on stage performing music that was written, as I said, sometimes 100 years ago or in the last 10 days, is something that makes it relevant and makes it very important that we don't have to look at classical music as something of the past, but we see it not only as something of the present, but more importantly, of the future. Being a music director or a conductor in an orchestra can be quite challenging because I've always said that conducting is the only proof that we have that really that telepathy exists. And when you get in front of, let's, for example, the Nashville Symphony, which is an orchestra made up of true virtuosos. I mean, these are musicians who are not only incredible in what they do, but any one of them could be easily a great soloist had they chosen to pursue that. I'm just lucky that they decided to have the Nashville Symphony as their day job. But because they are great artists, I think when you say great artists, it also comes with the subtitle temperamental. And with any great musician, you have great opinions, and you have very strong opinions about how music should go. The job of a music director, I've always believed as a conductor, is to manage the process of any ensemble, because it would be completely naive of me to say, oh, I'm the only one that has all the ideas. Of course, if my principal violinist or my principal clarinetist or my first trumpet comes with a great idea, I need to take it, because these guys are coming from the same level of knowledge, or even more so, than I could ever imagine. So my job is to kind of manage all of that, and in the end, just kind of putting all that energy into one little stick and making the performances seem cohesive and seem coherent. I'd have to say it's a lot of fun, but when you have, as I said, 100 people on stage, 100 very temperamental people on stage, fireworks are sometimes warranted, but we're all fighting for the same thing. We're all fighting to create the best musical experience possible for our audiences. And that's what people feel when they attend a performance of the Nashville Symphony. One of the questions I get the most as a conductor is, what piece do you like the most? What is your favorite piece? You know, and I have an answer for that. It's whatever I happen to be conducting at the time. And the reason is very simple. As a music director, I have literally an unlimited amount of music available to me, whether it was written by Bach 300 years ago or, as I said, 10 days ago by Michael Daugherty. But I only have so many weeks in a year for concerts. So the elimination process is quite high. And I can tell you it can be also quite painful. Because there are many pieces that I say, I don't care what happens next year, but I'm doing this piece, rain, shine, or earthquake. And then reality strikes in, schedule issues, soloist issues, and then the piece gets delayed. So you do know that whatever piece of music makes it to an actual concert went through such a rigorous elimination process that many times only the universe can control. That at that point, that piece becomes my favorite piece on the face of this earth. And for that moment, that piece is one that I've been waiting for a couple of years to conduct. And probably in most cases, I will conduct it, and I will probably have to wait another 3 or 4 years before I do it again. That's what makes it very painful. But at that moment, in those 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes, is the greatest thing that has ever been written. And I dedicate myself entirely not only to the music, but in this case to the composer, who in many cases is not around. I see myself as the spokesperson to make sure that the composer's wishes and intentions are presented clearly to the audience. There's something to be said about the words new music. In the 20th century especially, there were some pieces that really pushed the envelope a little bit too far, in many cases scared audiences. And I don't blame them. I will be the first one to tell you some composers went a little overboard. But we need to play the music that is being played today. And the way that I balance that is by playing it next to the warhorses. I've always believed that if you were to play, let's say, a Beethoven Symphony No. 5, the 4 most famous notes in the universe, ba, 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 we all know it. But if you play a new piece before it, let's say a new violin concerto or a new symphony by Roberto Sierra, you have to remember that when you hear the Beethoven Symphony, you're going to hear it through the prism of the new piece. So I've always believed that combining the old with the new is the way to do it. Because I don't want people to come and just listen to a piece. I want them to experience an entire performance with an overture, a concerto, or a symphony, or backwards, or whatever. I don't want people to stop paying attention. I want concerts to challenge people. And for me, it would be naive to believe that everybody likes all sorts of music. That's just impossible. Nobody, we all have our preferences and stuff that to us doesn't speak. And we don't know why that is. I will tell you, there are many composers and many pieces that I won't go near at all. I have no interest. And that doesn't make me a bad person. I'm very proud to say it. But the stuff that I am passionate about, I dedicate my entire life. And I gain nothing by just programming new stuff to make it seem interesting. I gain nothing to playing to an empty audience. What is the thing about the tree that falls in the forest, nobody hears it? The same thing with music. I have to balance, as you say, the great war horses. Maybe the Rachmaninoff concerto will bring the people in. But at the same time, they're going to hear something new. And they might say, you know what? That was also very cool. And by putting those things together, I think it's the future of combining. And like with anything in life, it's about balance. To be referred to as a multiple Grammy Award winning is something that I would have never imagined in my life. And the pride that comes with that. Born in Nicaragua and growing up in Costa Rica, which, of course, the two great meccas of classical music, even though they are becoming so. We're very proud of our music education there. And I have those two statues in my home that I very proudly share with the Nashville Symphony. And the fact that we're doing this, promoting and performing living American composers, makes it even sweeter. And it is indeed, for me, an amazing honor to be able to make music with an ensemble that proudly champions all types of music. And as we continue our journey together, and we continue, I have to proudly say, racking up nominations and Grammy Awards, is something that speaks not only highly of the orchestra, but it speaks highly of Nashville as a community. What is happening in this town in terms of the availability of music talent, of world-class music talent in every genre. One of my greatest joys of being a part of this community is I've gotten to know wonderful artists, wonderful colleagues in every walk of life. Many of them I have gotten to collaborate. Ben Folds, Vince Gill, Amy Grant, Bella Fleck. When you're surrounded by such greatness, you hope that some of us rubs on you. And the fact that I get to share the stage with many of them on a regular basis is something, as I said, that makes it even more special. But Nashville is a town that can truly feel proud of the output that it gives to the musical world. And those of us who make this our home are very proud of being part of this wonderful musical community. Hi, this is Giancarlo Guerrero, Music Director of the Nashville Symphony, and this is Grammy Pro.